stitching friends, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my subscribers that regularly come back to spend some time with me. My name is Carla, and of course I am a stitchy witch living in Scotland. It's particularly cloudy today, quite cold I think for the time of year, so yeah, well, we can't expect too much. So I hope everybody is well and happy and had a good stitching Easter. Today is Monday, Easter Monday, and I'm excited to show you the progress I have made on the pieces that I've worked on. In my last video, I showed you 4 kits that I have, which I had started at various times in the past, and I was hoping to put in a week on each of them over the month of April, and I was going to wait actually till the end of April just to give you this update, but I thought, well, you know, I'm really dying to come back and tell you what I've done so far. So why not just do it now? No time like the present, right? We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah, so let's crack on. So I've got only 2 of the kits to show you today, because only 2 that I have worked on. And also a little surprise reveal, which I haven't spoken about yet, but that will come later on. And I'm also going to show you some of the new needle minders that I've been busy making in my Etsy shop. But first, let's look at the kits. Why don't we go into the kits and have a look at the work and progress that I have gotten done on, well, basically the 2 that I've been working on so far. So the 4 that I'd mentioned in my previous video were Gracious Era, London, Westminster, Winter Evening by Merejka. So those were all the 4 kits that I was focusing on, really. And I'd actually been a really good girl for a change and actually made use of some of the notebooks I have. Look how beautiful this one is here. Couldn't resist buying this for the spring. And I'd written down inside, tried to keep a log of how I had done over each day. So basically, this is what I've done in April. So for the first 5 days in April, I worked on Winter Evening. But then I had done a video after the 5th day, so you already saw my progress there. Then I'd worked on London. Now, London was the one that I remember I was saying that I was most concerned about, because I just wasn't feeling it. I just haven't been feeling that chart for ages. So I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to actually make myself bring it out and actually stitch on it. However, I did actually make myself do that. And I'm happy to say that I managed to get a lot of stitches on it. So I brought it out that day, and then, yeah, I did a tentative, wrote down 114 stitches on that one. And then I was just kind of looking at the clock every day to see how long I'd be stitching on them. And then I did 4 days of Gracious Era. Then I brought London out again, and I thought, hey, you know what? This London chart's not so bad after all. I think I'll keep going. There's one day where I wasn't here at all, so I didn't get anything done. On the 13th, London came out for another 2 hours, so I was really going places with it. I must have revived my enthusiasm for some reason. Actually, I think once you get into something, it's not half as bad as you think it is. I think we tend to overthink. Some people are right by saying, don't overthink it. You know, it's true that some things are just, we make up things in our head about sometimes how we feel. And I think that's probably what's happened to me. It being such a long time since I stitched on it, I just remembered the difficult parts, but I wasn't thinking about the good parts either. So then Gracious Era came out again for another hour. Then I was busy the next day, didn't get any stitching done. Then London came back out, I'm pleased to say, and then I didn't do anything for a couple of days. And then London came out again, and London came out again. So London is winning, guys. Can you believe it? I'm really pleased about that, because I had such reservations about whether I was actually going to finish that one or not. And I really wanted, I mean, I hate to get rid of something if I really, well, first of all, spent a lot of money on the actual chart itself, but not just that. It's not just about the money. It's about how much I've invested already, and I really have to think hard. And there has been charts in the past which I've let go because I simply felt like I'd fallen out of love with them. And I think that's more important for me to continue stitching. It has to be something I really want to really continue with, as in I'm going to enjoy it, because I feel like if I'm not going to enjoy it, what is the point at the end of the day, right? What is the point? But anyway, so hopefully I can put a picture up here of what it looked like. So this is how it looked when it's finished. And I started the 4 top buildings at the top here, started coming down on the right. So I've put a picture up of how it looked and my progress so far. I've had to fold it up a little bit because otherwise I'm not going to get this in. So I think I've done a great job, gone great guns on this side of it. So I always seem to grapple a little bit with the paper copies and keeping track of marking off my stitches. I always find it really fiddly with my photocopies because they never come out perfect. I just can't get them to come out really good. So yeah. But I managed to get this bit done. Now this part here, this dome, was a complete nightmare. I'm not going to lie. There were so many colours in here. I started doing stitch by stitch and parking literally. And this is 1/1 on 16 count. And then I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. I got one strand. I zipped all the way down with one strand colour. And then I got another colour and I zipped all the way down. Then I came over to here and I started doing some of this down here. And I kid you not, it's taken me all those days. All of those days. How many did I do in total so far? 6, 7 days I've done on this chart this month so far. And look how much progress I've made down here. So it's actually quite a bit. It takes a while to get quite a bit of this done. I managed to finish this little thing here. I haven't done any back stitch so far. I'm waiting till I finish this building. Then I will do the whole lot. And maybe the more I get to do, you know, the more backstitch I get to do. So I was kind of backstitching as I go along, but yeah. And just for you to see again how beautiful this building is up here. I am just such a sucker for buildings. I just love them. I never used to when I was younger, but I've grown an appreciation for architecture, I think. It's just sort of grown on me. The different shapes, the different colours, it's just so majestic. So what I'm doing is I'm going to come down this way, I think, and continue down here. And you're probably wondering what this blue line is. Well, my papers are in like A4 size, and that's the beginning of the page. So everything on this side is a new page, which I haven't got to yet because I've been working in pages. So I've just done the line to make sure that I'm on track. When I'm counting, I know where the beginning of that page is. Because honestly, if I were to go wrong on this, it would be such a disaster. Because I am not well known for doing frogging or even attempting to do frogging. Not a lot. If it's more than 10 stitches, yeah, it's not going to happen. So I have to go really, really carefully. So it is a very large piece that they give you, I have to say. They give you plenty of fabric. I mean, look at this. This is the fabric that they've provided in contrast to the dimensions kits. How many inches are there on the end of this fabric? Now, this fabric came with the kit. There is so much you can't possibly hit the end. So I don't understand why Dimensions are so frugal with their fabric. The same at the bottom. They give you so much. You can barely, I mean, you'd have to try really hard to make a mistake, and like the same I did with Winter Evening when I was trying to start in the middle of that one. So there we have the London progress, and I think it's going to look stunning when it's finished, and it's going to look stunning, going to go in a stunning frame. So I'm quite proud of this one now. So like I said, I have really gotten into it, and I'm just hoping that my enthusiasm remains, that it continues. I have to admit, there was one evening where I just went to go and get it, and then I thought, oh, you know what, I can't be bothered really. But I'm glad that I've done as much as I have done. And now that I've actually tackled it, I don't find it so daunting anymore to bring it back out, because now I know where I'm at. I remember what it feels like to stitch, because sometimes we can sort of forget, can't we, how much we enjoyed something, and then we just don't go back to it because we don't remember how nice it was, to be honest. Okay, so that one, just get my notes here, is the one that I've been working on. So it remains to be seen how that's going to progress, but hopefully I can come back and show you more progress on that one eventually. I'm just going to take a sip of my tea. Okay, the next one is Gracious Era. Now, I think this is the first kit that I've bought, seriously bought, and it's by Dimensions. And I can show you a picture of what it looked like last week or a couple of weeks ago when I showed it in my video, how far I had got, and I don't think I had any issues with this chart, other than I hadn't really got to it for ages and ages. That's really the only issue I had. But yeah, so I've equally worked basically on London and Gracious Era. And I'm really, really happy to say that I managed to get what I think is actually loads done in 5 or 6 days on this chart. So this is where I've got to now. Look at this, guys. Do you see the difference? Yep, I've managed to do these 2 ladies. And I've managed to backstitch them as well. So that for me is a real achievement. And it's really starting to come to life for me now. So I decided I'm going to stick to concentrating on this side. And I'm going to continue working a little bit on these buildings. It's so striking, and the backstitch is everything, let me tell you. It's absolutely everything. And I love these 2 ladies standing at the edge here. Goodness knows what they're gossiping about. I was wondering that as I was stitching it. I was thinking, are they talking about some gossip that they've heard in town? Or maybe they're exchanging pleasantries? Or maybe they're talking about the wonderful things that they're about to purchase in this gorgeous scene. And I honestly want to be walking around here in the snow in those beautiful coats, fur trimmed coats. I mean, it just looks stunning. But anyway, back to stitching, because I'm going away with the fairies on this one. So I found the backstitch pretty easy. I didn't have any hiccups. There was no frogging. There was a lot of counting involved, I'll have to admit. There was a lot of counting up here, especially when I was trying to decipher without a grid, you know, hopping over stitches to get the right amount in. And I even finished right down to the bottom here. The white was a little bit difficult to stitch. My eyes do not like white on a lighter fabric, but I didn't have very much of it to do, actually. So there's only like a little tiny bit left. So this is literally all I did. But it's a lot. I think it's a lot. So my aim, I think, is to continue on the Q-snap, going up, trying to finish this top bit up here. And then I'm going to just start moving to the right and backstitch as I go. So by the time I get to the other side of this chart, I'll have backstitched all the first side of it, which is great. So I'm really, really pleased that I got that done. That was all done in a few evenings with no hiccups, dead easy. There was a colour blend somewhere. There was one colour blend, which is okay. And some of these were half stitch and some of these were full cross. In fact, where the black coat is here, some of these were crosses. Some of them were half stitch, which I found surprising. I can actually tell the difference. This whole row along here is half stitch. Just beside it, there are crosses. So I think it's probably trying to emulate something that's more of a shadow and not actually the cloak itself. The cloak itself is all crosses. But yeah, when I didn't backstitch these 2 ladies, I thought they don't look really like ladies. They just look like funny coloured blobs. But as soon as I backstitched both of them, it really accentuated the figure. You could see that they were female, and you could see exactly what you're seeing now. So it's quite funny how the backstitch makes such a big difference, but it really does. So yeah, pleased with that, and I'm hoping to continue. I'm not going to set another month goal thing like I did for April. I'm hoping to get it out again another couple of times for the rest of this month, as well as London, and that's what I'll go by. But I'm not going to set another month of let's do cross stitch kits, because I have to admit I was missing my full coverage, and I did have to bring something out because I just couldn't do a whole month without my full coverage. It just would make me weep, and I didn't like that. I did not get anything else done on winter evening, which I have here, and I was showing you guys, and you gave me such wonderful advice I was showing you how I had miscounted and got to this end and only had like an inch left, and you said that was fine, and I thought it was, but I just wanted to get your opinions, because it always does help to get your opinions. And some of you came up with some fantastic ideas, and there was one lady who said, and it really made me think, my God, I would never have thought of that. She said you could always just not do the 4 or 5 stitches at the end of the chart. And I thought, my God, that is genius. Because who is going to know, apart from me, that a few stitches going down the whole chart are missing? Nobody's going to even tell, unless it's something particularly, unless it's like chopping off something, part of the pattern that you don't want to get rid of, that's going to spoil the whole design. I don't know if I would do that, but I just thought it was a genius thing, and I'll keep that in mind for future. If I ever miscount, I'll say, well, if I crop it, is that going to make a huge difference or not? And that's just an option you can have in your, bag of options, basically. So I haven't continued on this one, and it's not because of the issue that I had at the edge. I just wanted to really, once I got into the London one, I just really wanted to plug on with it, because it is my oldest, and it's going to take me longer to actually finish, I think. So yeah, I thought once I'm in the mood, I better just take advantage of that, because you know what it's like. If you don't take advantage of the moment, it'll just slip away, and then it'll end up back in a drawer, and that will be the end of London again, and I don't really want that to happen. So there we go. I will get back to that one, and I will get back to Westminster. Did I bring that one out as well? I don't know if I did. I probably didn't. But I will get back to all of them. I just want to... Westminster is this one here, which was like more of a recent one that I started, and I've only done something in this area here. So yeah, it's way behind on the list of got to keep working on, because it's the newest kit that I have, basically. Okay, so let me just have a sip of my tea and show you my, before I move on to the full coverage, show you my needle minders that I have made, because I really, really love these ones. They're very different to the ones I normally make. And I have put them up in the shop. And these are called, well, these are just a collection of nature ones. And I have put them up in my shop. They are ready for sale, and they come with beautiful glass dome backings, very strong magnets. And they're all absolutely unique and individual, because what I do is I make each single one with different elements, and I can't repeat the same one twice, basically. So you're never going to get another one that looks like this or this or this. They're all completely unique. So this is the starting ones that I've made, which I think are very sort of seasonal. They're very bright and spring looking, and they're up now on the shop for sale. I particularly love, which one do I just loved it. I don't know, I like this one with the fox, squirrel. I like telling you the one that I would pick if I was going to buy it. And these two are interesting, because you just don't really see seahorses in the needleminder, do you? Or fishes or stuff like that. So I found that really interesting to make. It was just a sort of fun make. And then there's the cute little bee here. Yeah, so let me tell you, ladies, once they're gone, they are gone. You cannot ask me to make another one, because it would never be exactly the same. I could make something similar, but it would never be the same as this. So these are all very unique. So yes, please check it out if you are so inclined, and see if there's any there that you like. Okay, there's also a lot of different ones as well that are not of this variety. There's castles and goodness knows, lots of different themes going on in there. And of course, a huge, huge thank you to all of you who've sent beautiful reviews on my on your purchases, and who also come in regularly and tell me about how much you love the needle minders. And yeah, it just really warms my heart. Thank you so much. It gives me the incentive to keep going and to keep on making them, because it is actually a lot of work involved in making needle minders. It takes about 3 days process to make a little batch. So yeah, obviously I wouldn't be doing it if people didn't like them. So I'm really pleased, and thank you so much for your feedback. Okay, let's move on to what else I've worked on this last couple of weeks. So as I said, I got round to doing the kits, but then I sat there one evening thinking, I am dying to get out something for coverage. Is that cheating? No, nothing is cheating, in my opinion, in the stitching world. There is no such thing as cheating. The cheating word does not exist, sorry. It's exactly what you want to do, when you want to do it. But it's good to have, guidelines and goals now and again, which is what we do, which is what I did with getting some kits out there. Where can I put my mug? The last thing I need is to spill tea over everything now. So I had to get, of course, Riverwalk Charm out again, because this chart is the one that I've been trying to get progress on for ages. Here it is by Ruane Manning, and I have the regular version of this, and I've been working on this since, I think I wrote on the back when I started it, November 2019. And here's an idea for you. If you get one of these folders and you put in a picture of all your whips, you can write on the back of each one when you started, which I've done with each of these, and when it is you have finished. Obviously there's nothing says finished on it, don't be surprised. So I put the starting date. What have I written there? Okay, of all of them. So this one started in November 2019, but I remember specifically there was one year when I was hardly working on it at all because I was too busy starting loads of other things. But I was surprised to go back and recall that it was 700 by 547 that I'd started, but 89 colours. And just look how much you can get out of 89 colours. It's absolutely unreal. I mean, I'm not a person that would ever really, really gravitate towards doing something that's 200 and something colours, because I think sometimes it's just not necessary to do all that extra hard work when things just look perfectly wonderful with 89 colours, in my opinion. I mean, I know many people enjoy having much huger variety of colours. I'm not a huge fan of confetti, so yeah, I want to make it as enjoyable for me as I can do. Otherwise, I won't do it. That's just basically it. So hopefully I've got a picture up here showing you what this looked like. I can't remember if it was the last time I showed you or something later than that. But I was trying to fill in this little area on the right side of this piece. And I was trying to get this tree was a nightmare. I was trying to get this tree, I was trying to get it to align so that I could continue maybe in page. I wasn't convinced if I wanted to go in pages or I wanted to go in diagonals. I have been around the block with this chart. I have been diagonal stitching, I have been royal row stitching, I've been typewriter stitching, I've been tent stitching, I've been full cross stitching. You're going to be surprised today because I have actually decided to go with one strand and a full cross, and I'll tell you why. And I think I mentioned this not that long ago as well. And then I was uncertain about it because I wasn't confident that I was going to do it right. So I switched. I went from one strand full cross back to the 2 strands tent because I didn't have the confidence to continue, because I was worried about making mistakes and worried about cross country and getting lost and having to frog and all that stuff. But I've since grown in confidence. So ta-da, here is where we are at today. And look at this, guys. Look how much I've got done on here. Okay. Is there a good spot? A bit higher up. So this is all I've got left. This is all I've got. I'm so excited. I really am too excited. This is all I've got left to get down to the line. And that is a huge amount that I've done up the top. Huge amount. Yeah, so where do I start explaining this one? So basically, somewhere around here, I started doing full crosses. From about here upwards is 2 strands tent, and from about here, that way, which kind of works out okay because this is all background. And I'm quite happier to do the background in tent with 2 strands because It is actually quicker than doing it on a full cross. But I have continued around here with the 1 strand full cross. And I tell you guys, I'm not kidding you. Nobody, absolutely nobody can tell any difference whatsoever. It is absolutely impossible unless you go like that and look at it in such detail. Like even get your magnifiers out and have a look. I can't even tell now that I'm looking at it. I really can't tell you where it begins or ends. But I know for a fact that I've started, because I remember where it was, somewhere around here with 1 strand, and I ditched all of my park threads. I worked some of them in, making sure that I don't go down this line because I think it would have spoilt it a bit for the moment. Because my goal was just to get everything evened up. And look at the beautiful colours coming into play here on the windows. Beautiful reflections, and it just really does look like reflections of the sun, which is what I love about this. And started coming down a little bit cross country. When I say a little bit, what I mean is I'm not picking my thread and colour and going woo down to the bottom when the thread runs out. I don't need my thread to run out on the piece. I'm going down as far as I'm comfortable. And this is an option you have too if you find that you don't want to go, you know, skiddy daddle all the way everywhere. Comfortable, 2 or 3 at the most blocks down. You can see I was working this colour somewhere up here and I came down to here just to finish a bit of thread that I had, or I might have come along here. So it's a personal choice as to how much cross country you want to do. If you only want to do it down 1 block and then cut your thread, you can do that. I find it a bit of a waste, a little bit of a waste to just do stitches in 1 block and then cut it, because you might only have a couple of other stitches like here down in the next section. So it doesn't hurt me to come down and do an extra few down here. There's a few more gaps. So I've basically, if you were to ask me what method I'm doing, the easiest one to tell you is that I've been doing typewriter, some form of typewriter, because I had a line sort of here. So I picked a symbol from up here and worked it down a bit. Then I went to the next symbol, picked it up, worked it down a bit. And sometimes, and I'll be honest, I didn't do that exactly. What I did was, if I saw a whole area of block color and there's 1 ninja in it, I'll do the ninja first, because it's just easier to do that ninja first and then do the block colors around it rather than the other way around, because then I'm like, well, I don't flip this over, so how am I going to end that thread? How am I going to end the ninja thread when I've got no space around it to end the thread at the front? So what I do is, I was doing the same to end my thread. I was doing exactly the same as I was doing with my 2 strands tent. I was coming down, bringing my thread to the front and snipping it somewhere below, but going through the actual weave in the middle of the stitch, not through one of the holes, through the actual weave. So with 1 strand, it doesn't seem to be quite as tight as it does with the 2 strands, but I can still get enough sort of tension. And then if I don't feel like there's enough tension, bringing my 1 strand through the front in between the stitch, I will do like the tiniest pin stitch. And I think I've probably done a couple around here, but I can't see them at the moment. Yeah, I think there's one there. A couple of there's a pin stitch here and there. But if I find it's tight enough when I pull it through the middle of the stitch, then I'll just snip it very, very, very short, like you can hardly see it. And it just gets covered over at the back. I have yet to have it come through to the front. And if there's ever a case where it comes through at the front, I will just go back in and do that stitch again. Obviously being mindful that I haven't gone too far ahead. So I am filling in gaps. I am doing cross country, but very controlled cross country. So my next choice, and actually I'm not really even sticking to that, because I've been coming over here and filling in this little area as well. And then also going back to here and coming down this way. Did all that little section. So it's not set in stone that I'm actually doing the typewriter method, you know, strictly. I'm not doing anything strictly. If I'm a bit tired for trying to guess where to go, I'll probably just do the typewriter. So if I'm saying, right, I'm going to finish these 3 blocks, I will start up here, get that first symbol, go down a bit, come back up, get the next symbol, go down a bit. But then if I'm in the mood more for like, do you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to finish these 2 blocks. Then I will start at the top symbol of these 2 blocks and do the same till I finish them too. Or I could say, I'm going to finish these 2 blocks, or maybe I'm just going to do that top bit and that bit there, and I'll just fill in those gaps. And sometimes not even in order of symbols, sometimes just what makes most sense. A few ninja stitches first, and then the other ones around it, or, you know, it doesn't really matter, but I'm just finding it that I've got so much more confidence now. And I still have some park threads down this way, by the way, guys, which I think I'm going to just, when I get down to there, I'm going to, chop them off and continue with the method that I'm doing. So what I'm probably going to do is, once I've got this line done, I'm going to start looking at what is a page now. I think a page starts here and goes down something like that. So I might say, right, I'm going to do all this, but I'm worried that because this is all pretty much sky, I'm going to get bored of it. So I'm wondering if I get bored of this sky bit, I might move to the other side. Let me see if I can, without having to actually take it off the Q-snap, because it is really a bit of a faff to get this whole thing in and out of the Q-snap. Let me go back to this side. Look at this, guys. Look how much I've got done. I can't believe I've done so much on this chart. And there's so much of it at the top as well. I may come back to this side, sorry. I need a bigger table. I don't need a bigger chart, I need a bigger table. They come back to here, and as you can see, I've already been dabbling in this cross country down here. I already did, so I have flipped back and forth. And I may start somewhere around here, or go right down to the bottom. I don't think this is the bottom here even. I think we've got another couple of squares to go. But my goodness, have we got far. Now this is what 53% looks like. It actually looks like more than 53% to me, but it isn't. It's 53%. And I'm absolutely loving it so much that I want to get this finished so much that everything else is in a queue. This is always at the front of the line. And I'm trying to work on it daily. And if not daily, at least every couple of days. But I'm excited about how much I've got done and where I'm heading. So really, really happy to have gotten this building done. Because I was somewhere up here and I was thinking, this tree is never going to end. I'm going to be stuck on this tree forever. It does actually feel like that after a while. But then you think, you know, it's not going to be like that. But let me tell you before I forget that I do think that cross country is quicker than doing tent, if you are doing tent row by row, stitch by stitch, because that is time consuming for me. I've been looking at how long it takes me to do a couple of blocks in row by row, you know, coming down, parking in the next row, doing the next stitch or 2 along, and then parking in the row below, doing the next stitch, parking in the row below. In tent would take, in maybe an hour, depending how much confetti there is. Obviously, if there's no confetti and you just all block stitch, that would be pretty quick. But if there's confetti, that would take me a whole evening to do. A whole evening, guys, to do 2 blocks that are just stitch after stitch nearly. Whereas here, I pick up a colour, and if I've got, and all of a sudden I've done 29 stitches, even with the full cross, because I don't have to stop and thread. I don't have to stop and thread my needle. I just can go whoop down, and then I can get the next colour. Obviously, it depends on whether I'm choosing to do ninja stitches everywhere or whether I'm choosing a bit of both. It really does depend on how much confetti, how much is not confetti of blocks. I mean, I've just read, but overall, I'm getting more stitches done in an evening like this with the 1 strand full cross than I ever did in tent, unless it's tent block stitching. Does that make sense to you guys? So the variables are, it depends on how much confetti, and it depends on whether you're doing block stitching. Obviously, if I'm over here and, you know, doing 4 blocks of tent stitch, that's going to be quicker than doing 4 blocks of cross country in full cross, because it just, That's just logical. But if I'm doing not having to stop and thread my needle, it makes a huge difference. And I'm not doing that here. I'm just going down and as far as I want to, and I'm getting loads more done. So yeah, there is that. So when you say tent is faster, it depends what you mean, because it's not necessarily faster. Not if you're doing confetti, a lot of confetti, and you're doing rows like I was doing, like stitch by stitch. If you're doing tent cross country, yeah, that is faster, because obviously you're not crossing the second leg. But I wasn't doing tent cross country. I was doing tent row by row, like a slow-mo snail. And also the other reason that prompted me to stop and cut my threads off is the amount of cat fur balls that I was getting stuck to the ends of my park threads. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's, yeah, I've got one right here to show you. Look, this is what's happening. This is what's happening to my park threads. I've got a ragdoll cat, in case you don't know, and she's got these little fur balls. And sometimes I have to pick them off like this. Perfect example. And that's what's been going on. Driving me mad. Okay, it's not the end of the world. I can unpick it, but it is tangling them up. Look, they're all getting tangled up. There's one there, tiniest one there, that's tangled my thread. And it's just driving me nuts. So yeah, now you can see, because I've just proved it to you. That's what's happening. And I know I tried putting threads behind those bobbies things, those round things, and I just never got on with them. So I'm actually really pleased to have a threadless canvas, and I can see better now. So I'm a convert. I have actually converted to being a 1/1 full stitcher. So you're probably thinking, what about all your other whips that are all 2/1 tent? Well, let me tell you, I've already started converting them as well. Oh my God, somebody shoot me now. To the point that I'm not going to allow myself to park anymore, because my park threads will all be gone. So it'll be more of a pain in the neck to restart parking than it will to continue with the cross country. I don't know, guys. This is all just fun and games, isn't it, really? That's what I think anyway. So let me know what you think. I just am so in love with this that I've got done. I just keep singing about it, sorry. So yeah, once I get down to here, I'll let you know where I'm going next. And hopefully come back a bit more often and show you the updates, because I've been really bad for that, actually. I should have come back and showed you more often how far I'd got. But I just thought, no, they don't want to see this design again. They've seen it so many times. Why do they want to see it again? But hey, you know what? I think you appreciate when all the effort that goes into getting a little bit of progress, because it does take effort. Okay, Riverwalk Charm, that's that one done. So now this is something a little bit more exciting for you because again, this is not the Stitchy Witch that you know or have known in the past. I have always lamented about doing anything over 25 count, because I've always said I can't do any charts that are got too many small holes. I think 25 count has always been my limit. I tried something on 28 and it was okay, but I wasn't that convinced. However, there was some talking about 32 count going on a while back, and I got totally into it, and I was thinking, I really want to try it. You know, I have no idea, and I really think that I'm never ever going to be able to do 32 count, but I just have to do it. I have to try at least that. So I got a piece of 32 count, right? And then I thought, well, okay, what am I going to do? What's going to be easiest for me to stitch on this 32 count? I'm talking about full coverage here. Don't think I'm talking about samplers or anything like that. So I went looking through my patterns, and then I found this one. I'm going to show you one that I bought a while back, not too far back actually. And where is it? Where are you? This one. I purchased this one from Stitches So Beautiful. Or was it? No, it wasn't a free one. It wasn't in a sale. Might have been in a sale. This is Castle, as you can see, by Eder Rosa. And it's 400 by 400. And it does use 102 colours, I'll give it that. It's slightly gone over my 89 preference, but that's okay, I can live with that. And I thought, you know what, it's not that huge, and it's got sort of watercolory effect, and I kind of like that. And I think that would look really good, and if not really good, it would look okay if I tried the 1/1 tent on 32 count. So this was the plan. Anyway, I got the fabric that I have, 32 count. I got my pattern loaded up, and I started on the top left corner, and I thought, God, this is so small. Oh my God, this is so small. I could see it, guys. I could see it, but it was, my eyes were just like, this is rough. This is rough. Okay, you can do it, but it's a bit on the rough side. Also, if you do on such a tiny little count, if you do like all across country, I was having a little bit of a hard time seeing the little gaps. I was like, is that a gap or is that not a gap? Anyway, my husband cleverly said, why don't you just clip on those magnifiers that you got ages ago, the ones that you put away, I don't know where they are. And I said, what magnifiers? He said, yeah, the ones that you can clip onto your frame, or you can clip onto the actual Q-snap. And I said, oh, it might be worth having a go. I've always thought to myself, if I ever have to use a magnifier, I'm not doing it, because for me, it's like, if I can't see it, then it's not going to be pleasurable. I was so wrong. Honestly, I admit that I was wrong with that way of thinking, because I got the magnifiers out, and oh my God, what a difference. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the difference it made. And they clipped on so easily, like just clip on and clip off. And they were fantastic. And I could see it clearly as if it was like 14 count that I was stitching. So let me show you where I got so far. This was supposed to be a bit of an experiment, but since I started enjoying it so much, I thought, well, no, just keep on going. So I did park a few little threads here because I wanted to just experiment a little bit. But here we have the beginnings of Castle on 32 count, which I said I would never ever do, with 1/1 tent. And I tell you, I absolutely loved it. Look how small that is. And I know there are some 32 count stitches here. Look, I've even done a bit of cross country on it. I'm so proud of myself. I feel like I've done something like, I don't know, gone into some sports event and not realised that I could actually win, you know, first, second or third place, and I've actually won. I just feel like, oh my God, really? Is that true? Did I actually do this? And it's all because when I look through my little magnifier, which is just hovering over it, I can see it like if it was 14 count or if it was like 16 count. I'm just like, woo, really quick. I did put a little bit of a grid there for my own sanity, because I thought if I don't do that, we're in big trouble. So you can see, you can get, you know, as soon as I went down to here, I thought, right, let's get that blue friction pen out right now before I make a mistake. Because if I make a mistake, I'll just end up not wanting to stitch on 32 count ever again. But it's the fact that I really enjoyed it for something a little bit different, because we all get to do the same things over and over again. With full coverage, we have to vary it a little bit. And I too am very bad for getting stuck in my ways and not wanting to come out of my habits. I'm a creature of comfort. I want to sit in the same chair, in the same corner, with the same stuff around me, drinking the same cup of tea in the same mug. You know, I'm very much set in my ways. And I don't even realise that I'm getting fed up until it gets to a point where I'm really fed up. I don't even realise that's going on in the back of my head is screaming, you need to change something a little bit every now and then to keep, you know, yourself from going a bit mad. But yeah, I'm really pleased with that. And I can see the colours coming in. So I'm really happy with that coverage as well. Now, yeah, I can see little dots of white behind there. But once you've got it back to where you're supposed to be looking at it, and you've got it up and framed, it's going to look great. So I'm in no hurry. This is not one that I've started that I want to get into the rotation. I want to complete and all that stuff. I just want to bring this one out every so often, just to have a little jaunt with it, because I enjoyed it so much. Honestly, I went to bed at night thinking, who am I? Honestly, who am I indeed? Because I would never have chosen 32 count. So there you go. Never say never, guys, because you just never know. So I'm thinking, now that I've got my confidence head on, keep on doing the grid because I think that's crucial for me. I don't want to make a mistake and lose the momentum, lose my enthusiasm, and also work in some of these threads as well. Start as I mean to go on. So I think I'm going to go all the way to the end. This is quite a long piece of 32 count actually. I don't know where the end of the chart's going to be. It's not going to be huge, but it's certainly not small. And I think it's going to be great whenever I get around to getting some good progress on it. So let me know what you think. I know there's loads of really great 32 count stitches out there that have done all sorts of charts and stuff. I've always been really jealous, to be honest. I'll be honest. Very jealous indeed. And because it's got that sort of lovely watercolour effect, especially in the sky, I think it's going to look fine on the 1/1 tent. So guys, oh, and I am doing it on this small little Q snap. I've got my light, my magnifier is just clipped to the top of here, so it's just overlooking, and I can move it around to where I want it to go, and I can see it as if it was like 14-16 count. It's just amazing. Why I just never tried it before, I don't know, but there you go. Sometimes we change our mind. If I had never tried it, I would never have known. I would never have enjoyed it. I did. Oops. Back of my needle minder just popped away. And of course then I had to make a needle minder for myself just to mark the occasion with a little castle turret. I tell you guys, when I really get into this, I really get into this. So I am super happy at the moment with my stitching world. Happy with my stitching life, what can I say? Hopefully next time I come back to talk to you, I will still be in good spirits. And nothing will have gone wrong because touch wood, it won't. Everything's going to go great. So what plans have I got? You know me, I don't do plans. I'm going to, as always, continue with Riverwalk Charm because there is just no way I cannot continue with Riverwalk Charm. That is just the creme de la creme at the moment. And I'm going to dab in and out of my kits that I've got. I also want to get back to the owl I was doing, which is supposed to be a gift for my husband, but no pressure because he doesn't really expect it anyway, but no pressure. I have worked on it a little bit, but yeah, you know what, I'm just going to be relaxed about this whole thing, and I'm just going to do what I feel like doing when I feel like doing it. I think I've heard a lot of stitchers saying that recently because it actually works for a lot of us. We just enjoy doing what we're doing. So I will come back with a stitch with me at some point soon. And yeah, hopefully you'll be as inspired as I still am. Hopefully I've inspired some of you to go and do some, I don't know, 32 count, or to go and do whatever you're too scared to do. Hopefully you've been inspired by me. So I think that's everything. Oh, before I go, I do want to quickly mention, oh, well, I can't even read my notes now. I can't read my writing. Yeah, I just wanted to, down in my description box, I'm just going to put a list of some of the floss tubers that I watch, because every time I feel bad, because every time I come and do a video, I forget, my brain just goes blank and I can't remember people's names and I can't remember the channel names, and I'm always watching flosstube, so I do get to see a lot of floss tubers, and I'm going to put some names down in the description of some of the great people that I watch quite frequently. And when I say some, it's not all of them by any means. So if you're watching and I haven't put you on this, don't think that I'm not watching back, because I am. I just haven't remembered everybody, or I don't want to put like 200 people's names down into the description box. I'll try and put some more next time I do a video. But please do go and check out these floss tubers, because they do some wonderful stitching. A lot of them do the full coverage, because I am a full coverage person. That's what I love. And yeah, I've at least caught up with them very recently, so just check them out. They're all fantastic. And I think that's it for this episode, guys. Let me know what you think. Thank you for your comments down below. I always appreciate them. And I hope you have had a wonderful Easter break, and I will catch up with you again very soon, my friends. Bye for now.